I'm going to just start this off with saying that Matrix Resurrections was a chore to get through because I don't think it was needed. I don't think it would have ever been a success. But if it ever had a chance at being a success, without a doubt, you would have had to have both of the Wachowskis to make this work. I just want to start off by saying that I didn't have any problems with the story. The story was, okay. I don't want to spoil anything because right now it's on HBO Max to watch, and if you feel like going to the theater, go to the theater to support our theaters. But yeah, the story was just meh. I didn't really care about what was going on. It was whatever. My main issues are with the fact that this didn't even feel like a Matrix movie at all. It looked like one, it talked like one, but it didn't feel like one. And I'm projecting or assuming here, but I'm thinking that the other half of the Wachowskis was a big part of what made the Matrix feel like the Matrix. I was hoping with this new one that there might have been a push for what made the original Matrix great was that it pushed the boundaries of technology at the time, and it showed us something different and new with a crazy story. And it faded away as 2 and 3 came out, but the story for the most part stayed consistent. But with this one, there was none of that. The action was very lackluster. It was lots of weird camera changes and no consistent view of what's going on, just recreations of the old stunts that made the Matrix matrixy, or however you want to phrase that. Lots of recreating scenes with the same angles to basically saying that this is a Matrix movie, but it just felt like a poorly made clone. The first 45 minutes of this movie were such a snore. It was just, I don't even want to say it was a snore, it was just dumb. There was a couple parts where a character is doing that thing that happens a lot in children's shows, where the character expresses vocally their inner dialogue instead of just showing us what's going to happen, they're telling us, and that's just pathetic. That was just sad to watch. And it only happened in the first 45 minutes. It felt like everything was just a big old pat on the back about how good we made those movies kind of thing. It got me to turn it off. I just stopped it. I was like, what? I'm done for right now. I'll finish it later. It was just silly. And then I was like, I should finish it, see where it's going. Most of that went away in the second act. It felt weird with some returning characters, and then not all of them. Just felt weird without them there, and I felt like in some cases they were needed. It was good to see Keanu back in that role, and the cast that did return for these movies. It was good to see them again, but it didn't feel like they fell back into that role. They felt like they were something else. Again, it could be just time for me, but it didn't feel like they were back in those roles. It felt like they were just here to make money and then move on. Aside from all that, the pacing in this movie is also ridiculous. Like I was saying, the first half is such a snore. It's weird because when they're in the Matrix and then when they're out of the Matrix, it feels the same. And the amazing thing about the trilogy before this was that they did a very good job at showing you and making you feel like, okay, we're in the Matrix right now, and then we're out of the Matrix right now. They made you feel that as an audience, and that's what this one is just sorely lacking. But like I was saying before, pacing was just such an issue. The first 45 minutes was just a real chore to get through, and then the second half, you're getting more information on what's going on, and I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of interesting, and then I was engaged again, and I was like, all right, show me what's going on. Yes, I want to learn about this. Yes, I want to learn about that. Awesome. And then the third act comes in, and it just feels like they just poured out all the contents of what they had left. I'm like, okay, here you go, all done. Because I don't think there's any plan for another one. Maybe they were going to see maybe if this one does well, like the original Matrix was, where they ended it the way they ended it, like they did the original Matrix. Because when the original Matrix came out, they didn't think it was going to be really a success. So then they just added that story. And again, it seems like they ended this one the same. And speaking of the same but different, the end credits song, Rage Against the Machine, oh my gosh, I can't talk. The Rage Against the Machine song, they did it again in this one, but then they did a cover remix that would just make, when the credits started rolling, rolling and the song started playing, I like audibly laughed out loud. And I was like, wow, that's really bad. I would like to say good things about this movie. All the supporting characters and the actors that played them, I felt did their job and played their characters well. It's just I didn't care about any of them. It was kind of like, okay, whatever, let's keep going with the story. I just want to figure out where this is going. And then when you did find out where everything was going, you're just like, man, this is just so unsatisfying. Just coming down to it, it just looked familiar, but it wasn't quite the Matrix. It didn't feel like the Matrix. If you do decide to go see this movie, I think you'll know what I'm talking about. So I think I'll just end my review here and call it good. All right, guys. Talk to you later.